Can they hear us now? Can you hear us now? Did they say they can hear us or no? Okay.
We can hear you on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah, they can? Okay. Thank you, Devon. Okay, we're at quorum, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Okay. We're gonna start passing around that attendance sheet. Please make sure to sign. Do we have any amendments to the agenda today? Angela?
Hello. Could you please strike ASMRF and TGMF? So Academic Success Referendum Fund.
Yes, thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Any more amendments to the agenda? Maya and Daniela?
Hi. Okay, I'd like to strike CS Transpo and CS Mini Fund allocations.
Okay, Daniela?
I would like to strike through the SWC programming fund allocations.
Yes. Okay, any other amendments? Yes, Cecilia? Okay, make sure, can you repeat that in the mic?
Please strike bag allocations. Thank you.
Yes, Cecilia, any more amendments to the agenda? Gabby has a question.
The second thing you wanted to strike, can you please repeat that?
The Academic Success Referendum Fund and the Travel Grant Mini Fund.
Thank you, Angela. Any more amendments to the? Oh, yes, Divine. Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
Hi, can we strike ARC allocations, please?
Divine, I can't hear you. Divine, I still can't hear you, but maybe does it? Okay, she wants to strike ARC allocations. Okay, can you strike ARC allocations, Gabby? Any more amendments to the agenda? Yes, Gabby.
Yes, I would like to motion to add to the agenda and I would like to motion to add an appointment to ARC BOD. Aiden Dufour. Yeah.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Who's second? Wait, who's seconded? Angela. Okay, Gabby motions, Angela seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Let me recount, just make sure. I counted. Okay, please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining? With 11-0-0, Aiden for a Susu BOD appointments added on the agenda. Yes, Gabby, another amendment?
I would like to motion to add Sophie Mahidi for our BOD appointment.
Gabby motions, can I please get a second?
Second.
Gabby motions, Evan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. You guys raising your hands? Charbo, Paige, you guys raising your hands? Okay, please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining with the 13-0-0. Sophie is added for a Susie BOD appointment under appointments to the agenda. Do I have any more amendments to the agenda? Yes, Gabby.
Yes, I have one final addition to the agenda I would like to add. I would like to motion to add a letter in solidarity with African Student Union regarding the rejection of the Carter Huggins Hall renaming proposal from the UCLA Honorific Renaming Committee.
Gabby
Second.
motions. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Angela seconded. Gabby motions. Angela seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining with the 13-0-0. That letter is added to the agenda for today. Is there any more amendments to the agenda before we go on to a motion to approve the agenda? Okay, no more amendments. Can I please get a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting, which is on June 2nd, 2026?
I motion to approve the agenda for 06/02/2026 for this current USAC meeting.
Gabby motions, can I get a second?
Second.
Gabby motions, Evan gets seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining with a 13-0-0. The June 2nd, 2026 USAC agenda is approved. Now on to approval of the minutes. We have 3 minutes that have to be approved, which include May 12th, May 19th, May 20th, and May 26th, because when we approved those, the May 12th and May 19th, those meeting minutes were not existed at the time, so therefore we have to reapprove them. So I'm gonna start with the May 12th agenda. So can I get a motion to wait? I don't need a motion for a meeting approval. I just need to ask for rejection. Can I do it in block? Okay, in block for May 12th, May 19th, and May 26th. Is there any opposition to the meeting minutes? Okay, none. So then May 12th, May 19th, and May 26th, 2026 USAC meeting minutes have been approved. Now going on to public comment. Is anyone here? And we'll start with in person and then we'll go online. And so anybody here in person to public comment? Okay, is there anyone online, Gabby, to public comment? Just check. Okay, looks like there is no one here in person online, so I will close public comment period for June 2nd, 2026 USAC meeting at 7:09 p.m. We will now move on to funding. We will start with contingency programming. Yes, Laura.
Currently, there's nothing on the funding sheet, so I'm assuming that contingency won't be funding this week.
Okay, did we need to have strike that or?
No, it's fine. You can just skip over it if that's the case. Just as long as Bethany's not in the.
Okay, cool. Next, moving on to SFS allocations, which is consent.
Yeah. This week, SFS recommends an allocation of $1,500 to 0 USAC entities and 1 non-USAC entity.
Okay, is there any opposition? Okay, SFS allocations for June 2nd, 2026 are approved. We're now moving on to TGIF with Paige.
TGIF allocated $39,561.70 to 13 non-USAC entities.
Amazing. Is there any questions? Okay, TGIF for June 2nd, 2026 is approved. Now moving on with discretionary. Can I please have, I will be ceding my time to Andrew to be speaking on this matter and how this happened for council here and then vote on it. So Andrew, can Andrew speak? Did you invite him as a panelist, Gabby? Because he has to be invited as a panelist. Okay, Andrew, I think you should be able to unmute now. You're promoted to speaker by Gabby, our internal vice president. If you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you, Andrew.
1 second. Let me see.
Yeah, I think we're having UCLA services to support us in this technical issue.
Right, can you hear me now?
No, we still cannot hear you, Andrew.
Can you hear me now? Uh,
Okay, Andrew, can you
Yes.
try again? I suggest
Yeah.
maybe like rejoining or disconnecting if you have AirPods or anything like that you're using.
Yeah. Is the audio working now?
Yeah. For some reason, Divine can hear you, but we cannot on like the webinar. So maybe leaving and then joining again.
Yeah. 1 second.
Oh, it's on us. Oh, so we're fixing.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
for your patience.
Aiden, or not Aiden, Andrew, sorry. Andrew, can you
Yes.
please try speaking again?
Is this working?
We still can't hear him on our end.
Okay.
It's okay. Andrew, can you try again?
Yeah. Is it working now?
Yes, now we can really hear you.
Okay.
We're gonna lower it. Okay. Andrew, proceed with speaking now
Yes.
again.
Yes, thank you, Jaya. Yeah, my name is Andrew. I am representing 3D4E. I was previously the outreach director, and we are here today to request a discretionary fund due to a non-executed allocation request from CS Mini during the spring 2025 quarter. So I think we have on what's shared on the Zoom screen is the contents of the funding request, what was purchased for our community service event. So a bit of context was that this was a youth outreach event series where we went to a local middle school to teach them about 3D printing. And then every week of the program, we had some things for them to model. And then the next week, we would bring in the 3D printed materials for them to play with and continue on with the next week's worth of content. And so we had different things that were pre-approved for purchase from the CS Mini application fund. And so we went through the purchasing and the requisition process. Our treasurer last year submitted the documentation that was needed. However, after the spring 2025 quarter, we did not hear back. And so I had tried following up with treasurer. Treasurer did not hear anything from any like student government body. And so in February of 2026, I went directly to the SGA office to speak with Josh. And Josh said that due to this funding being set aside for, like, it was approved for the 24-25 school year, and that had already ended, I would have to recontact CS Mini, and CS Mini directed me to the IVP/president office, which has led us to this point. So based on what we know and what we've heard on 3-4E's end, what could have happened was that because spring quarter is a busy time and a lot of requisitions might have been put in during the transition process between officers from like the 24-25 to 25-26 year. What we think might have happened was that it just got lost in the shuffle and it never got processed. However, we're just going back and trying to get that fund delivered.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there any questions from council before I call for a vote? Okay, Andrew, can you also remind council about and like put in the chat the dollar amount and who it's being allocated to before I call for a motion so they have the proper language?
Yes. So the allocated amount from TS Mini was $399.06. And I was the purchaser for all of these materials. So the chargeback would go to me. So I'll also put that in the chat for reference.
What is the event for?
Oh, the event, was it for like the event was titled Engineering Innovation Challenge at Daniel Webster Middle School.
Engineering, sorry, I couldn't hear the last part.
Yeah, I'll also type that in.
Okay, so yeah, type it in so just so council can see that before I call for a vote, please and thank you. So I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Oh, yes, Brunea?
Do we need the student group name to?
I don't believe so. I mean, but I think more specific will be helpful. So yeah, if Andrew, can you also include the student group name? So it would be helpful to be as specific as possible. Thank you, Brunea.
Yes.
I'll give you some time to do that before I call for a vote.
Okay.
Okay. Can council see what's on the? Can council see that on the Zoom? Okay. Is there any further questions before I call for a vote? Okay, I don't see any hands. I'm gonna need a motion for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I motion to. Oh, I motion to allocate. Sorry, the mic's being weird.
Yeah.
I motion to allocate $399.06 from discretionary funding to the Engineering Innovation Challenge at Daniel Webster Middle School in spring 2025 by 3D4 at UC Delay.
I second.
Amazing. Pranaya motions, Gabby seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Carmel, you're raising. Susie, are you raising your hand? Oh, yeah, thank you. Please lower your hands. All opposed, all abstaining with 1300. Discretionary fund is approved. 399.06 to the Engineering Innovation Challenge Daniel Webster Middle School by 3D48 at UCLA. Amazing. Now we are moving under special presentations. We are beginning with CalPERG year in review. CalPERG, can you guys please come up to the mic? Because we have a packed agenda today and we need to get out by 9. For all special presentations, I'm giving you 10 minutes. And Gabby's going to pull up a timer to screen share just because we have 2 critical appointments we have today. And I want to make sure council has enough time to deliberate and ask follow-up questions. So I'm sorry, all I can give you guys is 10 minutes. And Gabby's going to put the timer up. When you start speaking, Gabby will start the timer.
We have slides.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, well, I'll give you like a 5-minute mark and a 2-minute mark. Does that work? Okay. Just go 100%. Okay. Okay, Calberg, you can begin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Samita. We're all from CalPERG. I'm Samita. I'm the chapter chair of CalPERG students. And we'll take a second to introduce ourselves.
Hello, I'm Samuel.
Hi, I'm Anissa.
And I'm Maya. And next slide, please. Next one. Okay, perfect. So CalPERG is an environmental and social advocacy group here at UCLA. We've been around since the 60s, and we work on various issues from our oceans to hunger and homelessness. And our mission statement is that we want to train students to become leaders and act on problems that affect their day-to-day lives, as well as the lives of Californians and Americans. And we do this by combining our students' experience, expertise, and the expertise of professional staff to advocate here at UCLA, as well in front of our state and federal government, to work on issues relating to campus and general government. Next slide, please.
This won't count, guys. This will not count. Okay, begin.
Great. Some of our recent accomplishments include our winning of the California statewide ban on all plastic grocery bags that went into effect this January. Um, and um, uh, really recently, like this past month, we brought hundreds of students to 3 hearings held by the Fish and Games Committee in support of the expansion of marine protected areas, which have shown to greatly help the recovery of our oceans.
Okay, and it's not, we don't only do work here at UCLA, we have chapters all across the state in every UC except for Merced, unfortunately, and chapters all across the country like Washington, Massachusetts, Oregon, and so our statewide board is collected of 36 members, and here at UCLA we have 6 members who sit on the board of not only like our UCLA CalPERG chapter, but also like our statewide nonprofit CalPERG as a whole org. And this 36 member board makes decisions on our budget, what we're going to do for our lead campaign, as well as just like what our efforts as CalPERG should be focused on. And within that 36-person board, we have a smaller executive board that consists of 6 members. That consists of also like students from various schools. Here at UCLA, we have the vice chair of the statewide board here, and they like focus more on like the more broader picture statewide priorities, like where our efforts of our professional staff should go for, and like the priorities of each school as a whole. And in addition to our student workforce, we also have campus organizers, which are official staff that are paid to help students organize and run campaigns. And they tend to work on our lead campaign, which is like the main campaign for each chapter. And next slide, please.
So throughout CalPERG here at UCLA, we have over 100 volunteers, 30 interns, and throughout the course of a year, we do about 200 class presentations where we're able to educate approximately 6,000 students on campus. We also have an email list that involves 10K people around the state.
Awesome. So our Protect Our Oceans campaign, basically, quick overview is just that oceans are dying. Our oceans are really dying. We lost a lot of, we actually lost 90% of our kelp forests in California's coastal waters. This is due to things like overfishing, oil drilling, and other factors. So basically, our goal for this campaign was trying to go to a hearing or trying to expand restricted areas. And by doing that, we're going to go to a hearing that happened on May 19th. We talked to the Fish and Games Committee to allow them to expand marine protected areas because they were the controllers of that.
Sorry, could you go back? And then some of the tactics that we worked on for this campaign, it was our lead campaign. We do like multiple campaigns in a quarter. And Anissa, if you want to talk on the tactics.
Oh, for the tactics, we had Voices for Ocean sign-ons, ocean-focused committee events. One example is beach cleanups that we had. Also, we do public comments for the Fish and Game Commission in San Mateo, Santa Barbara, and San Clemente. And then we also had media hits from places like the New York Times and the LA Times, and we have field trips to marine protected areas.
Yeah, and so in addition to that campaign, thank you. We also worked on our basic needs campaign, which basically, as you know, like basic needs is super important for UCLA students. Around 42% of students, at least once throughout their undergraduate journey, is going to face food insecurity. And that's only been exacerbated post-COVID. And so, as most of you also probably know, our UC Regents came up with like a 4-pronged plan to try to get UCLA to zero hunger by June of 2025. But unfortunately, we weren't able to meet that goal. So a lot of what this campaign is focused on is trying to like get UCLA to recommit, as well as like addressing food and housing insecurity at UCLA, as well as the general LA area.
And for this campaign, just this year, we have donated over 500 meals to homeless centers. Throughout the campaign, we've raised over $7,000 for various shelters across UCLA, and we logged around 200 hours of service at Nourish LA, which is a food bank that anybody can volunteer at.
Yeah, and so trying to just like go a little bit deeper into what we do and our plans for the next year. One of the ways that we get our funding is through our pledge drive. We originally had like more of a streamlined way to get our funding through like a fee via student tuition, but unfortunately that got rid of that system in the mid 90s, I believe. And so we do a pledge drive where we dedicate 2 weeks of every quarter to basically go out there and talk to students on campus and get them to opt into a voluntary $10 fee to support our work. And with our contract with UCLA, we need 10% of our student body to commit to this fee. And so we take a portion of our activism time to make sure that we can exist as an Oregon campus. Next slide, please.
Yeah, every year for our statewide conferences, we go all chapters across the UC campuses meet in Sacramento, and we talk about just like how to improve our CalPERC chapters. This involves either talking about different campaigns, how to do different tactics for them to engage students better. We also talk about how to just increase CalPERC's presence on campus a lot, and then we also lobby in the state capitol for environmental issues like clean water, renewable energy, and others.
And just like our oceans campaign for this quarter, our next quarter lead campaign is going to be your plastic-free Olympics, which is basically the campaign where we're going to be focusing majority of our effort on. It's the issue that we're going to be pledging on and talking to students about when we talk about our work. And when we have our campus org, who's like the official staff that we hire, majority of the work that they're going to do is going to go towards this campaign. If it needs.
So for the tactics for this campaign, we're going to try to collect petitions and signatures from students across campus, and we're going to be trying to do that through our pledge drive as well. We're also going to try to get support from campus athletes to sign on because the LA Olympics, most athletes who are coming will be on campus and using our dining halls and our living facilities. We're also going to try to generate media attention through LTEs and op-eds. And then we're also going to directly lobby the venues to deliver their support that we have gathered from students and athletes.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like our goal for this campaign is to try to get the Olympics in general to be completely like reusable, compostable when it comes to silverware, dining material. Because not only do we want to like promote that here at UCLA because they're going to be using our facilities, but we want to make this something that they're like it's the given for the rest of the Olympics that are going to happen, and trying to like make that change because as you know, there's like a lot of waste that happens when they host the Olympics, and they try to do a couple of like renewable, sustainable efforts in the Paris one, but they weren't like fully sustainable, and so that's what our aim is, especially since it's at UCLA and it's going to be affecting all of us. Next slide, please. And in addition to those, or that LEAP campaign, we also run 5 other campaigns for next quarter. And there's the toxic campaigns, our public lands campaign, Zero Hunger, New Voters Project, and Wasted Out of Fashion. We're going to give a quick little brief of each one really quickly.
So for toxics, we're just trying to get out the general toxic chemicals in food packaging to make it safer for more people to consume. And then for public lands, we're trying to increase like less human activity in big state parks like the redwoods and everything. And yeah.
Yeah, and then for our toxic campaigns in our public packaging, we have like there's this chemical called PFAS, which they put in like things from like baby formula to like hot Cheetos. And so we're just trying to make sure that that chemical isn't in our packaging and inform like the broader public as well as UCLA students about the harmful impacts of that, and hope to pass a bill in the next legislative session. For our Zero Hunger campaign, we're going to continue on with our goal for committing UCLA to zero hunger, and continue to do that with like volunteering, campus-wide projects, and also like providing meals to unhoused folks. And for our New Voters Project, we're focusing on trying to expand the way UCLA students sign up for voting, because in other schools, they sign up students to register to vote right when you go for orientation or you go for like housing. And so we're trying to work with our administration to get something more streamlined to get more students to come out to vote. But our goal tentatively is to get 500 new students to vote for the 2026 midterms. And
And then really quickly, Wastes Out of Fashion primary goal is to get the LA City Council to pass a local ordinance requiring clothing companies to donate or repurpose overstock clothing by the end of 2027. And we want to teach students sustainable ways to interact with fashion.
Thank you. We hope to work with USAC in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much, CalPERC. We appreciate you. Next is J-Board. Just give us a second. I always get all the technology set up. Okay, whenever you're ready, you may begin. 10 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Okay, that was loud. It's always fun with the mic distance. Brief intro. My name is Eli Sepulveda. I am the former Chief Justice of the Judicial Board, and it is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce our new Chief Justice.
Hey everyone, my name is Avery and I'll be the Chief Justice of the Judicial Board for the 2026-2027 academic year. And thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do in your positions, and I'm really excited for a productive year with you guys.
And with that, we're now going to do a brief review of what the board has done this year. So can we get the next slide? How many of you, just quick show of hands, are familiar with the Judicial Board / what we do?
You should all be raising your hands. Like,
that's awesome. I was gonna say it's okay if you didn't yet, because that's also what we're about to talk about. So brief overview about us, you're getting the spiel anyways, is that the Judicial Board has 4 main functions on campus. We primarily are we are the equivalent of like the Supreme Court for you all in our student government structure. And we have 4 powers granted to us. And so these are, we receive petitions and then we process these cases the same way that the Supreme Court would. And there's these 4 conditions under which we can accept a petition. One is any member of the Undergraduate Students Association, not just council, but also like, any undergrad who pays tuition can submit a petition to us. And that would be one instance. Another is we serve as the Board of Appeals for the Elections Board. We will get into that. And then another is that we also accept non-adversarial petitions asking for requests for comment or judgment on any matter. This can be submitted by anyone. And then fourth is we also have powers granted to us by the chancellor. Unlikely to happen, but it is a possibility. TLDR, we are a public service for students on campus, for you all, and that is a resource that is reactionary. And so we do depend on students submitting petitions. It's kind of a see something, say something system. But yeah, we have been trying a lot this year to make sure that students are better aware that we are a resource for them. And we have seen that throughout the year that has paid off. Can we hit the next slide?
Thanks. So although we have all of those abilities, the most common examples of judicial board cases that we receive are 1, discrimination or harassment within USAC-affiliated organizations or clubs. The second one is violations of USAC elections and procedures, and we did a lot of that this year, and we'll get into that later. And then the third one is, of course, student-to-student disputes, because anyone in the association can file a petition against another student.
And another cool fun fact is that these petitions can also be filed in group. There's a lot of things that we feel that over the course of the year, we've come to realize that a lot of students are not fully aware of, but I think it's helpful for us to communicate this with council and then hopefully continue this work under Avery next year of making sure students know. But like, your representative does not have to be you. You could have a pre-law friend be your legal representative in this case. You could have one individual submit a petition and part of a large group, similar to like a class action lawsuit. There's a lot of options for how to navigate this. And a big thing we want to emphasize is that the board is not just like this thing that exists in this nebulous, up high and mighty, just judging people. People can ask us questions. If you don't know how to file a petition, you can ask us. And we are more than happy to provide advice in the procedure of how to file. And so we hope that if you in your offices encounter something, if individuals are coming to you, that you may be able to help them with reaching out to us. Can we get the next slide? So we did a few things this year. On top of the cases that we had 8 cases this year. We also did a bit of work earlier before the spring. Before the spring, we created a petition filing guide that we hope has been helpful. We've noticed that as the formatting has been reflected in a lot of the petitions that we received, so we are optimistic that it has been. In addition to that, we've also increased communication with USAC officers. We started doing these little quarterly presentations for y'all. Additionally, we just updated our official rules of the Judicial Board so that they should hopefully be more clear for students. And also we dealt with a few information requests from outside the university relating to cases from before this year. So this is all just like what we did, but can we get to the next slide? What's cool about this is that when we deal with petitions, at the end of it, we, aside from providing a remedy, sometimes that remedy comes with a recommendation to help address a structural problem that we identify. And so throughout the course of this school year and the 8 petitions that we had, we've come to a few different recommendations. And so these are all listed there, but the biggest ones are just essentially us asking USAC that, hey, you know, a lot of the petitions that we received were preventable because of structural reasons in the elections code, in the way that, for instance, ARC was structured this year. And so these are things that we are wanting to flag for your attention, because especially with this new council, you have the opportunity to update. Yes, you can read those in your own time. We'll get to the next slide. For transparency, we have been documenting our time. Historically, I'm not sure how much this council is aware. We have had a bit of a funding situation over the past 2 years where our funding has been progressively cut on the grounds that we are not active. And so to be proactive about that and to communicate with council, we took it upon ourselves to document every time that we were actively working on anything relating to the judicial board. And so this is a reflection of that. This is how many hours we collectively worked. And we are optimistic that with this council that we may be able to open a clean line of communication, a fresh start, and have that communication so that we can talk about what the board's resource needs are and what that could look like going forward. So I'm very optimistic with Avery that we will be able to have that conversation with y'all. And now, last slide, Q&A. Does anyone have any questions for us?
I mean, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. We did take those notes about the like codifying. We have bylaws today that talks about that. I appreciate the ones talking about like committee members stepping down, recusing themselves if necessary, and then also pertaining to appointments. So since the election board are my appointments, we already have some people who have applied for election board already, so we will be filling them by the summer. And so again, we are taking these concerns seriously. Will be doing that. I'll be in touch with your J board. I am a non-voting member this year as president, so I can't say anything in terms of your stipends and stuff. I will say this council this year is very meticulous detail, so they will be looking at that and they will allocate for a budget meeting over the summer. We will publicize our budget meeting as well, so you guys can come give public comment on what you guys think and stuff like that. I'll be in communication with you guys about that. So I can't like make any promises what they look like, but I will say I personally do appreciate you guys coming in, giving your quarterly presentations. I'm sure that this new council does as well. And I want to thank you for your time and congratulate Avery on their appointment. So yeah, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, yes, and I'll go Angela and then Cecilia.
Hello. Well, thank you all for being here and congratulations, Avery. Very, very happy for you. I don't know if it was in the presentation since the slides moved a little bit quickly, but I was wondering, how do you guys specifically put your hours? I know you highlighted hours of work. So how is it that that's counted? Is it per person? And how do you kind of equate work hours? Is it like straight up 1 hour? Like, how do you guys do that? I'm just a little curious about how you guys calculated that.
Yeah, so for this part, the process that we did is we have bi-weekly meetings that are standing, and then anytime that we have a petition, it adds meetings on top of that. So nothing ever truly replaces like the bi-weekly meeting. And so those are standing, and not all of our members attend. It is all by individual. And so some individuals end up being able to put in more hours than others. And so the thing that we have been hammering since the start of this fall quarter was that anytime that you are actively, like if you are independently opening up a submitted petition and you are reading through it, you are taking your notes, that time should be documented. And so that is what we have been telling all of our justices this year. And so this is a reflection of that. Additionally, meetings with our advisor, Pam Seisner, amazing. Those are also documented. Time spent doing admin emails, time spent in active hearing cases, that is all documented.
Cecilia.
Thank you for that presentation. Also asking about time, can you kind of go into like what going through like a petition kind of looks like? I know it's different for every case, but just like small points about what you guys do.
So whenever we receive a petition, we disperse it among the justices on the judicial board, and then we review it independently. So then we have to decide, do we want to hear the case or not? And that depends on if we believe it has merits. So if 3 justices decide that we can hear the case, it can proceed into a hearing. So the first thing that we do is preliminary hearing, and that's just to establish the facts of the case. And then we move into a secondary hearing where we actually hear and learn about the case. After we get that secondary hearing, we then move into deliberation where we discuss the case. And then finally, we publish our opinion and then write the decision opinion.
Thank you so much. I will take one more question before we move on to our last special presentation, if anyone has any. Okay, none. Thank you, Judicial Board, for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
So we'll move on to our last one. We will definitely be speed running this because we're about to approach 1 hour, and we still have to go through officer reports, which we will definitely be keeping to exec today. And exec will have no more than 1 minute to speak because we do need you out of here at 9. We have bylaw changes and 2 very crucial appointments. So yeah, this is our USAC appointments 101 being presented by me just because I served on ARC last year, and then our IVP who chairs ARC.
Guys.
Next slide. So what is a USAC appointment? They sit on various committees and bodies in the university. They're appointed by USAC, have varying levels of power, can be appointed by me. I have most appointments as well as AAC, FACT, and a select other few offices. And the office of the president and the internal vice president main the doc of all the appointments. If you guys have any questions about that doc, please ask me or Gabby. Next slide. Their job is to be student input, right? Advise on student opinion and advocacy on the academic senate, campus sustainability, SFAC, student health advisory. It's also about student involvement. So direct action, empower, influence students' lives and make decisions. TGIF, ASUCLA, BOD, which will be appointed today. Next slides will be on all about ARC, which Gabby will take over.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. ARC, those of you in the room already know what we do, but I will be glad to give everyone else who hasn't been involved in ARC a little bit of a rundown. I currently chair the Appointments Review Committee and a few other people in this room. Shout out Evan, shout out Ashley, shout out Angela, and shout out Susie. Susie's our alternate. We all serve on ARC, and our job is to interview and see out various appointments throughout our time on USAC. So the timely commitment is mostly in the summer/fall. However, my ARC people know that we already had 2 lovely BOD appointments, and this heavily relies on being punctual and dependable and being able to basically just attend. Now, there are 2 types of appointments. The first type of appointment is an action appointment that requires a vote. They must go through an ARC interview, must be voted on by ARC, must attend a USAC meeting for an interview with the council and must be voted on by the USAC council. Now, that's opposed to consent, which is the second type of appointment, which is basically saying the ARC interview must be optional and must be approved by the USAC council. We are going to be getting a little bit more into this later, but now the appointments timeline. After USAC elections, the appointment applications are open for the next term. As we know, specifically BOD appointments have been moving a little bit fast, and hopefully we can get a lot of appointments in as soon as possible. Some offices release separate applications or interviews as well, specifically AAC, and all applicants will first apply on the website. And again, some offices, AAC, will have additional interviews, but all must apply first on the website. You can find the website in my email signature. Now I'll take you through the appointment process. Step 1, applicant can apply on My UCLA or at this link. This link is found in the agenda if you guys want to make any appointments, and the eligibility check may occur. Step 2, the appointing council member must read the application and decide whether or not to move the appointment forward to ARC. Step 3, if the candidate is then forwarded to ARC, ARC will interview them and then vote. Yes, no, abstain. And then we'll go ahead and give that back to the appointing officer, and they will decide whether or not that will come back to USAC. Now, step 5, like I basically just went over this. So then USAC will go ahead and see it. Right now, today, you guys are seeing the ARC process play out. We are currently at a USAC meeting, and council members will be able to ask any questions they like after each appointment has made their introductory statement, and then they'll get an opportunity to make their conclusionary statement. Step 7, after council basically conducts the interview, ARC reveals their committee vote, and then USAC discusses and then deliberates. Step 8, the council can motion to approve the appointment or not.
Gabby for the overview of the timeline. So next is just our last notes and reminders, and then of course a refresher, because your USAC president this year is a bylaw nerd, about bylaws that we will be enforcing. So last notes and reminder, the appointment should be preferably added to the agenda before Friday. ASUC BOD was not, because it was fast turnaround and they were interviewing over Friday, so that's why it was motioned on today, because it's a timely. They must be approved before their their June 15th to 16th retreat. Please pay attention to the appointment term, committee purpose, and how well the appointment fits into your committee. We've had years in the past, luckily not this past year, but years before, where people were appointed to a non-existent appointment. And then we've had to redact and be like, sorry, this actually never exists. And that person starts crying. So please check in with me and Gabby if you're like, wait, did we fill this committee already? Did we not? How many we have? Please check in with us, because we don't want to appoint people to a non-existing position and have them crying publicly at a USAC meeting because we appointed them to a committee that doesn't exist and now we have to take it away from them. Please make sure to communicate with your appointments throughout the year, gather updates, have them attend council meetings. It's in the bylaws. You can call upon appointment anytime to come. You are obligated to each other. You're low-key, they're basically acting as a supervisor to them, right? And next slide, please. We'll talk about that. Important bylaws, Article 2, Section A. The USA Office of the President, USA Office of the Internal Vice President shall maintain a complete list of positions. Article 2, Section B, if the elected officer responsible for an applicant does not make a decision within 30 days of receiving the application, the president may submit it. So I will be checking if you don't submit it within 30 days, because we have specifically for CRC, SIOC, Lori just sent me the timeline. I will just send it forward if you don't submit it, and I will not even ask you, because it was your job to submit that before. We have a timeline. Next slide. Article 2, Section D. Transparency reports. This was in the bylaws and has not been done for the past few years. We are bringing it back. Because we, especially for the ones that are stipended, like ASUC, BOD, I already let the two sitting there know if they're appointed, they will be having meetings with my appointments director. They will be sending me transparency reports because they're getting paid, and they should be letting us know what they're doing and how, especially if they're getting stipended. So committee appointees are responsible for submitting at least one written transparency report to council each quarter, no later than week 9. The IVP will create a transparency report format no later than week 1. The IVP will be responsible for collecting and sharing these transparency reports. And if deemed appropriate, the appointing council member can require committee appointees to appear before council. Next slide. Thank you. Any questions? Fire. Amazing. Thank you guys so much for listening. So now, well, that's a great transition to our appointment. So yay for ASUCLA BOD. So very exciting. So can we please have Aiden come up first, who's being interviewed for ASUCLA BOD as a full member. This means they will be voting this year. So we're going to need, so this is how this is going to work. So their first appointment, they're going to give, so every action item, they'll come above council, they give a 1-minute introduction. Then we will have a 10-minute period for council to ask any questions. I heavily urge non-ARC members to use this period to ask questions. These are my appointments, so of course I'm obviously will be asking a question just to make sure we're being very meticulous on this is who we want in these positions. Just a reminder, these two must be filled immediately, so just keep that in mind. And then after that 10-minute period, we will have a 15-minute deliberation period. We usually don't always use that 15-minute period. Sometimes we use none of it. It's just there in case we need it to talk about if we have any back and forth issues that we need to discuss about something the interviewee said. And then we'll close for 1-minute introduction. We'll do 1-minute introduction, and then we'll do 1-minute conclusion, and then we'll do deliberation. So 1-minute introduction, 10-minute question period from council, then 1-minute conclusion, and then 15-minute deliberation period, and then call for a vote. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, amazing. So we're gonna start with 1-minute opening statement. So Aiden, whenever ready, Gabby will start the timer. Timer's up on the screen.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to talk with you guys today. My name is Aiden Dufour, and I'm a first year, currently majoring in political science. And I'm seeking an appointment for the board of directors because I'm very passionate about representing the student body and making sure that their voices are heard in the decisions that affect their experiences on campus. As a first generation student, being both Native American and Mexican, I know what it feels like to want representation and have a seat at the table. And growing up, also being in a very diverse community and school, I've learned how to hear different people's different walks of life, learning their different perspectives on how challenges should be solved. And also, throughout my first year on campus, I've joined different organizations. I'm a manager for the D1 women's team, and I'm co-director of mock trial and CAPI, a pre-law code fraternity, where I've had to be very transparent and lead weekly meetings and leadership positions.
Final remarks. Okay, beautiful. Ended on time. Thank you. So now we do 1-minute opening statement. Stay at the mic because we'll do 10-minute question period. So 10 minutes. Okay, thank you, Gabby. I'll have a question, so I'll start, and then I'll ask first, preferably non-ARC members to ask questions, please, and thank you. So my first question is, Aiden, ASUCLA BOD sits on a lot of committees, especially pertaining to investments with the other ASU UCLA BOD members. How will you ensure you're actively outreaching to the student body to make sure their voices are being heard in those investment committees?
Of course.
You get 2 minutes to answer that question, so we'll be watching that timer.
To make sure that student bodies' voices are heard regarding those investment committees, I think the most important is that, like I said, for representation, they have a seat at the table where they can, one, come to these public meetings to talk to me or talk to the committee of what their interests and what they need, or if they are in certain organizations, I would myself try to go out and reach out to different people across campus to see what their needs are. I've always been interested in the financial with these investment committees. I've the like financial like aid for both boys indoor club volleyball and then also for happy. So I think the experience is also transparency of saying, we know this is what you guys want, but maybe UCLA and like USAC, we know more about like our limitations to our budget, where we can say maybe we can give you guys some, but like it's going to lead to different outcomes that are better in the future. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Aiden, for your response. Does anyone else have any questions? Maya.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming today. So obviously the work of ASUCLA BOD may often be unknown to the general student body despite its significant impact on student life. So if appointed, how would you work to increase awareness of the board's responsibilities and help students better understand the relationship between ASUCLA and USAC?
Yeah, of course. I think to increase knowledge for students throughout campus, I think social media is a great tool. We live in a day and age where everybody on campus is probably on their phones, on Instagram. So I'm not sure what our Instagram looks like now, if there is one, but increasing posts, increasing videos, flyering. We have Bruin Walk where you can have people flying out informational flyers. Setting up meetings, going around to, like different organizations go around trying to spread their message, and I think that's what I would do.
We're gonna go to Korea since she had her hand up. We'll go to.
Perfect.
We'll
Hi.
go to. Sorry, go ahead, Korea. Sorry, I was just saying.
Thank you. How would you advocate for ASUCLA to reinvest their funds and proceeds back to the students?
Yeah, how I would advocate for ASUCLA to reinvest their funds back to the students, I would first need to know, I guess, our budget in the first place to see what funds I'm trying to reallocate and see if this is if it's actually doable. Like, do we have the means to give it back to the students? Because maybe it could be giving it back to the students is a short-term solution for students, but maybe in the long term it'll actually hurt the students. So going and trying to figure out what the best long-term solution is by both communicating with all of the committee and communicating with students to try to see what their needs are, both short-term and long-term.
Next, Divine.
Hi, Aiden. You shared how you would connect with, inform students about ASUCLA and the board of directors, but how will you hold yourself accountable to doing that?
Yeah, of course. I think we talked a lot today about transparency, how if we are appointed, we work closely with maybe it's JHA, but holding myself accountable, maybe checking in with herself and the committee to making sure I'm on the right track of not cutting any corners and we're doing everything by the bylaws and trying to keep everything in check.
I appreciate that response. Any other? Yes, Cecilia.
Thanks
Renea.
for being here. How will you make sure that our budget is allocated in accordance to ethical vendors?
Excuse me, for ethical vendors, could you give me an example? Or just explain, sorry.
Interpret the question.
Oh, okay. I would make sure that our budget is allocated in accordance to ethical vendors. I'm assuming that it's maybe organizations across campus, maybe like the restaurants that provide food and housing services to the students. I think those are huge to make the experience for students the best that they can be, so that one, they're not worrying about food, they're not worrying about housing, they can just focus on being good students, getting good grades. And I would, see how much we can allocate to each one of those without overdoing it. And yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you again, as everyone said, for being here. Okay, forgive me if my mic cuts out. I know this isn't mentioned in your interview, but I want to ask again. As an ASUCLA student worker myself, are there any particular things you have in mind in regards to supporting student workers? If not, what are your next steps in regards to bridging that gap in meeting student workers' needs?
Yeah, in regards to supporting student workers, they could have a lot of issues, whether it's pay, working conditions. I want to really go out there and reach out to see what their concerns and needs are. I think some specific issue, I'm not sure how relevant it is on campus here at UCLA, but I'd want to make sure no harassment or sexual crossing lines. It's a very professional environment for all the workers. They feel safe. I would try to make sure each organization, they feel safe and can just focus on working.
Any further questions? Okay, Cecilia, this isn't the last question.
I just wanted to ask, what are your prioritizations in the budget allocations? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah. Like I said, I think my coming in, not knowing exactly what the budget is and stuff, but my biggest goal is to try to represent either underrepresented communities or just the whole student body interests as a whole. So whether that is increasing housing or, for example, like graduate students, I think have a big issue with like meal plan, not liking the 14p meal plan and trying to do like brew and fresh or something, but like really looking into try to make their experience as well as possible.
Okay, well, it looks like we have time for one more question if everyone has any. But if not, we can move into 15-minute council deliberation. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll do council and then closing statement and then council deliberation. Thank you for flagging. Yeah, so we'll give you 1 minute for your closing statement.
Yeah, awesome. As I know I'm coming in as a first year, and I know that sometimes could be like a lack of experience, but I wanted to say that I'm really passionate about trying to represent the student body. And if I am elected, I would bring a work ethic that I think the professionalism and collaboration that I've learned through the different leadership roles I've been in here would allow me to try to be here for the next 4 years, not just short term, but create a long term impact for students across the campus at UCLA.
Thank you so much, Jaden. You can feel free. Can he sit down? I can't remember if he can sit down already. You can feel free to keep standing and sit down. But now, going into council deliberations for 15 minutes, we don't have to use a full 15-minute. I'm gonna ask, for someone from ARC to read the ARC statement. This can be the chair, or sometimes it can be other members. But it looks like Gabby, I think you said you're gonna be reading it today.
Yes, I will go ahead and read it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Aiden displayed thoughtfulness, passion, and care when it comes to serving the student body. From his interview, it was clear that he brings his passions to serving the UCLA community and wants to expand that initiative into the ASUCLA BOD space. More than that, he exemplified reflexivity and commitment to learning about things he is unfamiliar with, allowing his passion and values to guide him throughout his UCLA involvements. With a 4-0 vote, ARC recommends Aiden for this position and are excited to see what he accomplishes.
Thank you, Gabby, for the ARC statement. Does anyone have anything they want to say before I call for a vote? Just a reminder I'll actually do the reminder in here, but does anyone have anything they'd like to say before I call for a vote? Okay, amazing. Just want to let people know, make sure you're including their full name, what the committee is, the year, how long they're serving. This is a 2-year term, and also since he's being interviewed first, he is for the full member position. So just want to make sure you're adding that as well for the appointment. You want to be as specific as possible. So yeah, I am now asking for a motion. Thank you, Gabby.
I motion to appoint Aiden Dufour to the ASUCLA BOD appointment for the year 2026 to 2027 for a total 2-year term. 2026 to 2028 for a 2-year full year term. As a full voting member.
Gabby motions. Can I get a second?
Second.
Gabby motions. Pranea seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining? With a 13-0, Aiden is appointed to ASUCLA BOD committee as a full member for 2026 to 2028 term. Congratulations, Aiden. Okay, you are free to go now. I will follow up with you later. Thank you so much for coming. You do not need to stay for the rest of this. Okay, Sophie, you're next. You feel free to begin whenever for your introduction statement.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Majidi. I'm a second-year molecular cell biology major, minoring in entrepreneurship. I'm a first-generation Persian American, and I've been playing basketball since I learned how to walk. And in my free time, you can find me at a coffee or matcha shop. But most importantly, the thing that means the most to me is leaving a mark and a legacy wherever you go. And being blessed to be a part of so many different communities here at UCLA, I've been able to connect with students from so many different populations. And that's really taught me that leadership begins with listening. Being an RA, being the philanthropy director for a Pan-Hellenic sorority, being a student worker, being a healthcare volunteer, a researcher, I've been able to interact with so many people, and I've really learned the way that I know I can make an impact if I were to be elected as the BOD.
Amazing. Thank you for your introduction statement. Now we will do 10 minutes for council questions. I'll start. This will be basically the last one I just asked, but as a BOD appointment, you serve on several committees such as investment committees. How will you make sure when you're serving on those committees, you are addressing student needs in those investment committees?
Yes, so I would make sure to start with by making myself available. I want to make sure they know that I'm able to be there for them and they know who they're able to contact so their voices are directly heard, meaning maybe underserved communities. I can build stronger relationships with different cultural communities, such as cultural clubs, the Cultural Affairs Commission, and collaborate with these different organizations so that I can hear directly student needs. And so I would start with that because I know that the people closest to the issues know the most about how we can help them. And maybe doing something like in office hours where I'm directly accessible so students can come to me, voice their needs, and I can make sure that their voices are being sent to the decision makers.
Thank you so much. I'm now calling on council, specifically non-ARC members, emphasizing for questions. Yes, Maya.
Okay. You mentioned your involvement in many organizations across campus. And while this brings a wealth of experiences and different backgrounds and perspective, it also means you'll be very busy. How will you balance your roles and ensure that you are able to fully commit to the board of directors position?
Yes. So for the past 6 years, I've been involved in several different organizations. That's kind of just how I thrive. In high school, I was in all different types of sports. I was the ASG president, student class body president for 4 years. I was in several clubs. So I know what it's like to have a super busy schedule. I make sure that I am a part of things that I really, really enjoy. I don't really like spending times on things that are just kind of like, for your resume or whatever, like I really like to be a part of things that I'm super passionate about. And because of that, it forces me to become really on top of my time management. And because in order to be a part of these things that I love, I have to be on top of my time management. I've become really good at it. And that's how I'm able to be a part of all these things that I love.
Next, Korea online.
Hi, yeah, I was just wondering, how do you plan on advocating for ASUCLA to reinvest their proceeds back to the students?
So I would start with finding out the exact needs of students, like I mentioned, talking to different organizations and getting direct feedback from students. So I could start with hearing their needs, and from there, finding out budget-wise different things. I can take their needs and take it to decision makers to find a solution. So um, directly finding out what students' needs and where the gaps are by um, forming better connections with their organizations, finding out how we can invest our money into them, and then actually taking that and making a difference. Because through my RA experience, I've found that when students know their voices are actually being heard, they feel that they are better supported. So just making sure that they know that we are taking their needs seriously and making a difference with that.
Thank you. Any further questions? You don't have to ask questions if you feel like you have enough information. I was just saying I would appreciate if people are questions, if not ARC members. Yes, Cecilia.
Can you just, oh, thank you for being here as well. Can you describe to us what the board of directors do?
Yes, so I understand that the board of directors is head of kind of on top of ASUC and several other entities that ASUC governs, and that there's a pretty big budget, and it's kind of my job to find how I can use that budget to allocate to different things in order to advocate for students based on their needs and based on how I can better their UCLA experience. So I understand that it is my job to go and do my best to find what we lack and use that budget to allocate to those different things to improve the student experience.
Thank you so much. Any further questions? Yes, Susie.
Hello. Hi, Sophie. I know it's been mentioned by other students before, but how are you going to be transparent about allocating your funding to all these other resources equitably for all students?
So I want to make sure that they, first of all, know that I am here as their resource. I know UCLA has several helpful resources, but oftentimes I found that students just don't know they exist. And I think that social media is one thing we can use. Another thing is kind of introducing this right when students enter UCLA, like new student orientation and things that students are forced to go through. If we can get the idea out that if you have concerns, if there's something that you want to be changed, if we can get that message out right away and students are more aware that I exist and they're able to actually directly give their feedback, then I think that I would be able to better not only understand their needs, but I can make sure that I am evenly hearing from all different types of people.
Amazing. Any further questions before we go into Sophie's closing statement? Yes, Cecilia.
Sorry, last one. Same question. How will you ensure that ASUCLA invests in ethical vendors?
So my take on ethical vendors, I know that my job, as I will be taking students' needs and investing into different organizations or things that are there to help fill the gaps of the student needs that I hear of, I will have to do my research and make sure that where I'm allocating the money is not only trustworthy, but will directly impact the students. And so we'll actually really have to work hard to, when I hear a student concern or an concern from an organization, taking a lot of time and making sure that wherever I'm putting that money is actually making a difference, and just really knowing what I'm doing and not just kind of throwing it around or kind of just guessing that one organization or this other thing that I'm allocating the money to will do that.
Amazing. Thank you. Any further questions? Because before she goes into her closing statement. Okay. 1 minute closing statement. We'll just put the timer up and then we'll begin. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Sophie.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me today. I really appreciate the time, and I just am a really passionate person about making a difference. And in every role that I step into, every space that I step into, I look at it as an opportunity to leave it better than I found it. And that's kind of why I decided to apply for this position. And I just really enjoy making a difference, whether it's something super small that's not really noticeable to others or something that is really noticeable and like kind of a big deal. Anything that I do, that's the reason why. And I'm just really grateful to be considered here today. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. Now for set the timer 15 minutes for council deliberations. Yes, we'll share your statement in a moment. Okay, I'll now take the ARC statement, please.
Yeah, for sure. Sophie displayed an immense devotion to serving marginalized communities through her lived experiences as an RA and taking the Mexicali mission trips to give free surgeries to those in need. After interviewing her, it seems that Sophie lacks some institutional knowledge about ASU-CLA and didn't quite reach the mark when it came to understanding labor struggles faced within it. We would have liked to have heard more materialized ideas to accompany her apparent passion, grit, and intentionality. With a 4-0 vote, ARC recommends Sophie to be put forward in the appointment process with the hope Sophie's passion and dedication to serving the student body guides her action and education about ASU-CLA.
All right, thank you, Gabby. Is there any other comments before I call for a vote? All right, I need a motion, please. Gabby, you got it? You got it, Gabby.
Let's try it again. I motion to approve Sophie Majidi for the ASUCLA BOD 2026 to 2028 two-year position as an alternate.
Amazing. Can I get a second?
Second.
Gabby motion, Evan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Divine, is that a no? Okay, whatever. Okay, all please lower your hands. Oh, that's a yes, Divine? Divine, is that a yes or a no? It's a no? Okay. So hold on. Oh, please lower your hands. So I got 12. All opposed, raise your hand. So Divine, are you opposed? Yes or? All abstaining? Are you abstaining, Divine? Okay, then I'm counting you as abstaining. Okay, with a 12-0 to 1 vote, Sophie is approved as UCLA BOD for the 2020 to 2026 to 2028 as an alternate member to ASUCLA BOD. Congratulations, Sophie. Thank you. I will follow up with you later. Okay. Thank you. Now with officer reports, because of time, we'll keep it to exec. So that is president, IVP, and EVP, and Angela AAC. I'll keep mine written. Mine are actually literally written. Just want to make that clarity because people said that last year and there's nothing there. It's written. Thank you.
My officer report will be written.
Really quick, AC 18 will be heard in Senate Education tomorrow. And then had transition meeting with Sherry. Everything else is written.
My report will also be written. Thank you.
Amazing. Now moving on to old business, starting with the USAC election appointment bylaw change. Just want to flag that this was not changed at all. You can see the updates. Oh, yeah. So sorry. Orlando, so sorry. My bad. That's totally my bad. I really do appreciate you guys. That was not intentional.
No worries. I know you're on a schedule here. To help with that, I do not have any updates.
Okay. Sorry. Lorelai.
Hi, everyone. Reminder to submit your photo to me for student union displays as soon as possible. Follow up on module set 1. I still need initial submissions from president, SWC, but that's an issue of login, which we'll resolve, TSR and ISR. And then I will be following up on set 2 at our next meeting on the 23rd. Rec clinic on Thursday. If you have anyone in your office that is looking to submit requisitions by the deadline for rec deadline, which is for any and all remaining recs for this year, which is going to be due on Friday at 11:59 p.m. Rec clinic is going to be hosted in the afternoon on Thursday. Happy to provide those details to you in your offices. And then I'm continuing to figure out how to get you all into the Slack again. So be patient with me as I follow up with all of you. And that's all I have.
Lori.
First, I had a lot of fun with you guys this weekend, even though I went to bed at 9 p.m. I was just tired. This summer, there are 4 leadership academies. And once I have the RSVP link, Casey's office has extended an invite for you guys to attend the networking portion. So you guys can look for people who work in your office. You can recruit for appointments, whatever you need to do in that hour on the Sunday. You do have to provide your own transportation, but if there's multiple of you, maybe you can get a van and all drive down together. So once I have the invite, I will put it in the Slack channel and you guys can RSVP. There's 2 new student and 2 new transfer sessions. I will also be emailing out to you instructions on how to get a count to reserve spaces with recreation. That's all.
Jonathan.
Hey, hi, hello. A couple things from me. First, Pamela wanted me to thank you, those of you that came to her afternoon hour tonight. She said it was the best one she's had ever. So kudos to you all for showing up. And I highly encourage you to continue doing so throughout the year. If you are interested in a parking permit for summer, I sent that email out last week, and those requests are due tomorrow. After tomorrow, I will send out to everyone that got requested and received a permit, their permit that they received, and the instructions on how to purchase your permit. If there's additional left over, I will also let you all know so that you may share it with staff members if any of your staff members are interested in purchasing a permit. Speaking of appointments, your My UCLA workflow system is ready. I have given them all of your information, and I know at least half of you, I believe it should be active now. So please keep an eye on that. And once that is, the way to keep an eye on that is when you log into My UCLA, you'll click Staff and then Workflow Management. It'll also start sending you automated emails with things that are relevant to you. But once everyone is in, then we'll do a formal like walkthrough of the system to show you how to use it. We did confirm for your summer attendance, I guess pending that you confirm the dates that we talked about last week tonight, you'll be able to miss 2 meetings over the summer before your stipend is affected. So every meeting beyond 2 is 1 stipend check. The Student Fee Advisory Committee wanted me to let you all know that appointments to that committee are due at the beginning of August. Recs are due, as Lorelai said, this Friday. I highly encourage you to take a moment to speak to your predecessor, if you're able to confirm that they have submitted everything they need to. Their bills that they don't pay become your bills. Make sure they pay their bills so they don't become your bills. That's my recommendation. Reminder to submit your application and interview materials for review from Human Resources. I have 5 of you that have submitted thus far, and 4 of them have come back already. So I'm waiting on the rest of you. Reminder that you cannot post or engage in those activities until they are approved by HR. I got a couple questions about when your budget is coming around. And I spoke with Jessica today, and that will either be coming at your next meeting, which is the 23rd, or the following meeting, which is the 7th, in order to meet the deadlines for BOD. So your budget gets presented to you all. You all approve said budget. It goes to the Board of Directors Finance Committee, and then the overall Board of Directors to finally approve said budget. And the BOD Finance Committee meeting is on the 17th of July, so your last meeting to approve your budget will be the 7th. You'll receive an email from Jessica or SGA with the details of that ahead of time. And then lastly, both Lorelai and I are out of office here and there from now until your next meeting. I'll be out of office on Thursday. She'll be out of office Friday and Monday. And then she's going to be out of office Monday, and then I'm going to be off Thursday, Monday. So we're in and out is what I'm trying to say. But one of us will always be around. So feel free still to stop by, email, whatever. But please just keep that in mind and give us a little grace if it takes an extra day or 2 as we're in and out. Yes, and if you have something that's time sensitive, please include both of us so that whoever is around can help you. Otherwise, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys, I'm really gonna run through this. USAC election appointment bylaw change. This did not change. Our lovely, lovely Constitution Review Committee during retreat took their hour break to meet and review all these bylaws and go back and forth with me about it. So I want to just shout them out for doing that during their break. I really appreciate it.
Shout out.
And shout out RTSR, who was appointed as the chair of CRC. So excited to see that. But this first one is just on the 3 eBoard social media committee members. I've got a lot of discussion about funding them. They would be stipended. Again, we will approve the budget our first or second meeting during the summer. And they just would not be paid as much, obviously, but this is to alleviate the recommendations we heard from this year about like this ongoing issue of not having enough people to review all the like submissions within the time frame that they have. So any questions on this before I call for a vote? Yes, Angela.
I just had a quick question on why the number 3 in terms of why are there 3 committee members for the social media?
Because those are the people who are reading the publicity and they need more people to read them. So we just picked 3 because we think that will alleviate with with our accompanying bylaw, which is the 48 hours not to be interpreted as business hours. So that's why we picked 3. So they have more than enough people to support them, to support the director.
Do you think that 2 could do the same amount of work?
Sure. Would you prefer to do 2? I mean,
I would.
Okay.
Personally. I don't know if that's a change that we're willing to compromise on, but I think that having 3.
I mean, I'll defer to Gabby because she's actually voting on it. I'm a non-voting member. So, Gabby, what do you think?
I would say I agree with that. When elections board originally came, I'm not sure if too many people kept up to date with that, but they ended up saying that they needed like at least one more person to help process that. So I would be okay with changing to 2. What does the rest of council think?
Hello. That's fine because then if you include the chair, it's 3 people.
Also, I have a
Yes.
Sorry. We can also always hire more, right? If
you want to do another bylaw change, sure. But I mean, I would suggest like we just decide here and now. Yes, Susie.
I thought it was discussed. The 3rd was an alternate.
No, we never said that.
I didn't.
Is that an option?
Do an alternate?
Well, they'd be paid, so I don't really think that makes sense to have an alternate for a committee. That doesn't make sense. Yes, 7.
I think that it makes sense. Like right now, we only had 1, and they were seeing over 400. If there's 3, including that like main member, they're only reviewing like 130.
Okay, so I'm hearing like a lot of people saying too, if Gabby want to, yes, Lori.
Sorry, I just think, just remember a lot of positions were unopposed this year, so there probably were less things coming in to be approved. So the more people.
There was more coming in this year.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying there was unopposed. So if you have, like, say there's 5 unopposed this year, and then you don't have any unopposed next year, you're going to have even more submissions come in because there's more people running.
Do you want to do 2? Yeah. Yes. Renee and then Evan.
I guess really quickly also like the amount we'd give them for a stipend would depend on the budget, and then like it would either be like split across those 3 people or split across 2 people. So I think it just depends on like, it also might depend a little on like how much we have and like how sustainable it would be, like depending on how much we plan on giving.
Yeah. So yes, Evan.
I agree with like the concerns brought up. I do think that we are adding an additional 2 people to like the workload that is currently happening. So I think that would like supplement it if there was like less unopposed races this next cycle.
I'm going to go ahead and change it to 2.
Okay, great. Is there any other questions for a call for a vote? Because we have another bylaw change to do, and then we have 2 items under new business. Okay, I'm going to call for a vote then. So I need a motion.
I motion to approve the USAC elections appointment bylaw to the bylaws Article 2, Section C, AI 6.
Second.
Who seconded? Cecilia. Okay, Gabby motions. Cecilia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining? With the 1300, the USAC elections appointment bylaw change is approved. Next, moving on to our next item is the USAC election code bylaw change. Form CRC again diligently met with us over the break, and we decided to do 48 hours, not to be interpreted as business strictly. So that means that they would work over weekends, and that is because I heard a great point from Cecilia and some of the other council members that the election cycle was only 38 days. And again, these positions are paid and they know what they're signing up for. Therefore, it doesn't make sense to be where Cecilia like sent me a public, Cecilia, do you want to say like what you said? Because you worded it really well.
Sure. Thank you. I was just saying that if you submit on Friday, like voting opens on Friday. So if you wanted to post during the weekend to kind of, like promote yourself or something, or say even that voting is open, you would have to wait until Tuesday at the latest. And that's like 5 days out of the 38 cycle. So that's around, like 1/8 even, which is over 10% of the cycle gone for you. So I was just thinking that time is money for election season. So yeah.
Yes, love that. Another of the important changes, we just put at least 72 hours prior to the beginning of the voting period. Election board chair and vice chair will review the ballot to confirm the status of slate listings, ballot reps, and candidates, since that wasn't done this past year. So there was several slates that were not listed on the ballot. So that was inaccurate to the student body representation of those slates that were filed. The other important thing was election board chair must provide a public comment on the status of election seasons at each of the USAC meetings during the election cycle, and they can submit a presentation at their discretion, and they can be substituted for another member of the election board if they would like. That's just other. So any other further questions or comments? Or a call for a vote? Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm getting a motion.
I motion to approve the Elections Code bylaw changes to the Elections Code of 2026, Article 2, 2.4, 1E, Article 2, 2.4, 1Q, Article 2, 2.4, 10, 2, 3, Article 2, 2.8, 1C, Article 2, 2.147, and lastly, Article 6, 6.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. Gabby motions, Paige seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Oh, wait, please keep your hands raised. It's just so I saw that. Okay, lower your hands, please. All opposed? I counted Divine as yes. Yeah, she said yes. All abstaining? With the 13-0, the election code bylaw change is passed today. Thank you so much. Now moving on to our last old business item is discussion of summer schedule. We just have to vote on what we said, and then we have to vote on quorum. I think quorum of the summer, I want to say, is 8. Yeah. So I would just need someone to motion for the time we said, which was we agreed on Tuesdays, bi-weekly 7 p.m. starting on June 23rd. Can we add also in quorum so it's just one motion? Okay, just add fully virtual, and I included quorum in the motion as well. Sure. Okay, so we'll just need. Okay, Gabby's ready to motion. Amazing.
Got it. Might need to be walked through this one.
Okay, so just make sure you include bi-weekly meetings Tuesdays at 7 p.m. fully virtual with a quorum of 8 starting June 23rd until the start of the academic year as well.
I motion to approve in discussion for summer schedule for the USAC 2026 to 2027 schedule to be Tuesdays bi-weekly 7 p.m. completely virtually, quorum of 8 until the beginning of the 2026-2027 academic year.
Perfect. Can I get a second? This is the easy part, guys.
I second.
Maya seconds. Gabby motions. Maya seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Cecilia, are you raising your hand? Okay, thank you. Okay, please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining with the 13-0. The summer schedule is approved. They will be bi-weekly starting June 23rd, fully virtual with a quorum of 8 until the academic year of 2026-2027. Thank you all. Now moving on to new business. Gabby, let's get new business. This first one finished by 8:40, just so we can give our special presenter until 8:55. Yeah. Yes. Oh, so hi guys. So I don't know if you guys saw, but African Student Union just released a statement today. That's why we motioned this. They just got heard back from the honorific renaming committee that their proposal was rejected to rename Campbell Hall to like Bungie Carter and John Higgins. They were Black Panther political party members. They were also UCLA students who were unfortunately murdered in Campbell Hall. So this is a issue that's been ongoing. I want to say this has been ongoing. This has been a fight that happened before I even came to UCLA by like former USAC members, by the Black brewing community to rename that building. But as some of you guys know who worked in these bureaucratic spaces, it's really hard to rename committees, rename buildings, especially when these buildings are often named from people who spent a lot of donor money to these buildings, right? So that is some speculation that they think why this rejection was denied. But African Student Union released a beautiful statement, and we sent this to them. This was drafted in community with them, in solidarity with them. That's why we mark in solidarity USAC, just to show them the support, and they really did appreciate us doing this, because we also in fall of 2024 did a resolution that was sponsored by a previous CVP a couple years ago, who also drafted a resolution that was similarly asking for the same requests.
Yeah, I'll definitely add on to that. As Jay has said, this has been a long time coming. She talked a little bit about the 2024 resolution passed by Javier, the previous EVP. And in addition, last year in 2025, the African Student Union chairperson, she was the one who ended up submitting the nomination in the first place. And there's been a lot of discussion with Bunchy Carter and John Huggins, especially different events memorializing them. I will just go ahead and read the last portion of this. The UCLA administration's continued refusal to recognize the lives and legacy of Bunchy and John is a testament to the continued oppression and suppression of Black and Brown students that are fundamental to the University of California. USAC stands in solidarity with the Black Bruin community in the fight against anti-Blackness, suppression of Black voices and lived experiences, and a campus that refuses time and time again to support its Black and Brown communities.
Thank you, Gabby, for sharing that last clause. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, yes, Paige.
This just might be because my brain is fried from studying, but the second bullet point says UCLA honorific naming committee. It consisted he.
Oh, we'll edit that. Thank you, Paige.
Silly. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Thank you, Paige. Anyone else have any suggested edits? Those are important, or anything else? Oh, yes, Maya.
I'm just wondering, did we get any rationale from UCLA on why the proposal was rejected?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't give any rationale in the email, but Gabby will read them. We'll read what it said in the letter that they sent ASU.
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. They specifically mentioned that there's a lot of people who deserve a lot of recognition and their names on buildings. However, there are not enough buildings to go around. Let's see. This decision was made with great care. We want to acknowledge that there are great nominees who are deserving of recognition, but there are limited opportunities to grant such an honor of a building name. With limited buildings to be named and the need to ensure that there are buildings available for future namings, very few can be selected for this honor.
So not very helpful. Yes, Evan.
I was wondering if I could just offer a little spiel real quick.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll give you 30 seconds.
Oof.
Or how long do you need? Because we just have a guest presenter for the last.
55 seconds. Wait, I'll try like a minute.
Okay, I'll give you a minute. That's fine. Yeah.
Little background, 2020, Daily Broom put out an article that a petition was started to rename Campbell Hall in memory of both Carter and Huggins, which today has received 5,244 signatures. And as the letter alludes, there have been various efforts like the USAC resolution in 2024 and this most recent effort by the African Student Union to memorialize and recognize the disgraceful assassinations of two UCLA student activists. These efforts are not new, and numerous students and faculty have shown their support to rename Campbell Hall for years. In a letter sent denying the request to change the building name, it suggests that leaders were encouraged to find other ways to honor both Carter and Huggins. However, it has already been 27 years since the African Student Union and AAP have begun holding annual commemorations of the shooting. With that being said, there's an utmost necessity and legacy to rename Campbell Hall and take direct action to honor and remember two UCLA Black student activists that lost their lives on this campus. Thank you, and I hope my fellow council members can join me in supporting these longstanding efforts.
That's so nice. Thank you, Evan. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to be respectful of our last speaker, who's a guest speaker from GSA. Yes, Orlando.
Sorry to add to the time. No, just more of a clarification based on our conversation last week. Is there a specific timeline or why we're making this an emergency? Do we need to make it in before a certain time versus letting it sit for the next meeting for public and everyone to review it?
Yeah, we did not want to wait all the way until June 23rd, especially since African Student Union released their letter now, and they appreciated since USAC already had a resolution on this in fall 2024 that releases now, just because it doesn't hinder our upcoming advocacy when like me and Gabby, because I know Gabby was like, are you sure there's nothing else we can do? I think in our power as exec members, we can immediately follow up with the honorific committee, especially since the president actually does sit on that committee as like a guest student representative, and that's why it was emergency, because it's also been an ongoing matter that hasn't been fully addressed. And I think also council has a duty to engage in reparations towards the harm that they have done in the past towards the Black community, and that's why we treated this as an emergency letter statement.
USAC needs to show where they stand.
Yes, thank you. And also, we didn't receive any rejection from council about adding it on either. So. Okay, can I ask for a vote? Or so a motion?
I motion to pass a letter in solidarity with African Student Union regarding the rejection of the Carter Huggins Hall renaming proposal from the UCLA Honorific Renaming Committee.
I second.
Gabby motions, Pranea seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Please lower your hands. All opposed? All abstaining with the 1300, that letter passes. Thank you so much. Now we'll hear for a special guest speaker, Dana. Since we have 17 minutes, I'd probably want to adjourn around 8:58. I think it would be good. I will be obviously ceding my time to Dana. It will be good to do around 5 to 7 minute presentation and then allow for deliberations from council and stuff, just we can vote and adjourn a couple minutes early. So I am now ceding my time to Dana and as well as Gabby to co-present.
Absolutely. So we did send a little bit of information about this previously, and I will allow Dana to give a more in-depth analysis of this resolution. But this is a resolution calling for the retroactive removal of all incompletes and accompanying permanent notations from undergraduate student transcripts. Now, as you can see, there are many co-sponsors of this, as well as the Disabled Student Union. Essentially, to give a quick overview, the designation of incomplete on transcripts is visible to graduate schools and to jobs or wherever the undergraduate UCLA student decides to apply. And because of that, employers and admissions officers are able to see this incomplete, and that prompts them to ask the student, what prompted this incomplete? And now the thing about the incomplete notation is that whether or not you have completed your full coursework, done all of the necessary exams to actually complete the course and obtain your deserved grade, the incomplete is still on there. And that's a really big problem, especially for our students who may be dealing with health issues, family issues, or just the extraneous life circumstances that can't always be anticipated. And they're essentially being haunted by this incomplete status. I will pass it off now to Dana, who can provide a more in-depth detail of this for fellow council.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yes? No?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you, Dina.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to try and condense this into a very small amount of time. First of all, thank you for having me here. My name is Dana Ernst. I'm a PhD student at UCLA, which means I've been here for a number of years, long enough to be here when the first proposal for the incomplete policy was proposed. I've served as a representative on behalf of our graduate and professional students, including as Director of Academic Senate Academic Affairs for 2 years. I've been a dedicated representative to Graduate Council and Legislative Assembly for 5. I've been part of CODE and other ad hoc committees. I'm extremely attuned to the issues of non-traditional, marginalized, transfer, first gen students with dependents and disabled students at UCLA. And so in 2020 and 2021, we got feedback from students that they were being negatively affected by a policy. And that is the incomplete policy as practiced at UCLA. The importance of this is actually to remain faithful to the way that things work at UCLA through shared governance. So The Academic Senate is the body that entertains changes. GSA and USAC came to those bodies, Undergraduate Council and Graduate Council, in 2024. They made a proposal. The proposal was discussed. A yes vote was received. That is now the job of the university to implement that. They have failed to fully implement that, and now there are many, many students who are being left behind and permanently disadvantaged in their education for no good reason. So I want to just go through to make sure that there's a little bit of background on the incomplete. So incompletes are supposed to be temporary. Students don't get them because they're irresponsible or unwilling to complete coursework, but actually it's due to circumstances beyond their control, such as disabilities, chronic illness, hospitalizations, extensive and necessary increases in working hours, deaths in the immediate family. There are groups that disproportionately are affected by the incomplete policy, including underrepresented students like first-gen BIPOC students with dependents and disabled students. Now, transcripts at UCLA are not just internal academic records. They're official documents through which students are evaluated for scholarships, fellowships, grants, honors, internships, study abroad, graduate and professional school, and employment. And so when incompletes and their notations remain visible permanently, even when the coursework has been completed, students appear less capable, less reliable, less competitive, even if it had to do with no fault of their own and they've completed the coursework. Obviously, for undergrads and grads, this has immense consequences. UCLA stands alone as one of the only universities, and actually the only university I have ever heard of, that insists on permanent notation on the transcript. Now, in terms of the incomplete policy, we have made administrators aware of how harmful it is since 2020. Many professors and other students, unless they have an incomplete, they see it on their transcript, tend to not know exactly what it looks like. And that's because it's posted absolutely nowhere in the policy. You would never know. Unfortunately, a lot of students don't know until it's too late. And this flags students, especially disabled students, who are more likely to need extra time. And flagging is actually illegal. It basically forces students to have to disclose the conditions that cause the incomplete to be taken. And at UCLA, and you can see from the multiple appendices, Appendix C, financial penalties for students, almost every single scholarship, award, fellowship position requires you to submit your transcript, and some of them explicitly state that you have to explain why you have incompletes on your transcript. So, that being said, those who bear the burden, as I mentioned before, are certain groups of students. Now, this was acknowledged formally in 2024 by a report that was called the System-Wide Report. If you can actually go to one of the last, it's like the second, maybe third to last slide that has the report. Keep going back, one more. Yes. In 2024, there was a system-wide working group report on students with disabilities at the University of California. This was a 3-year process, and one of the most consistent recommendations was that incomplete grades and practices be modified so that it avoids disproportionately or disparately impacting disabled students. To date, the university has not made good on their promise, which included the entire proposal. USAC and GSA have always consistently said removal of the notations retroactively and going forward. That has never changed. It has been consistent throughout. Throughout resolutions, USAC had a resolution in 2022. Then the graduate and undergraduate council presentation to Academic Senate, and then UCSA in 2025. And so if you can just go to the next one. Yeah, perfect. So essentially what happened was these changes were put into place for students just starting this year. So that leaves all of the other students who have been here before, who have had incompletes on their transcripts, permanently at a disadvantage, not only at UCLA, not only in comparison to the other UCs, but nationwide and internationally. And so what we're asking for is the implementation that was mentioned in the proposal, and we're trying to make a big push to spur action now. And the reason is because more and more students are harmed every year. Some of them are about to graduate, and we really want to make sure that they are not perpetually harmed by this. I want to thank you. I want to keep some time open for questions. I really appreciate your listening and having me, and hopefully we can do what's right and pressure administrators to do what they should have done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll take you for a couple questions and feedback. Yeah, I saw Paige and then Angela. Because I would like to adjourn by 8:58.
Not a question, but I want to, one, mention that last year council approved a resolution supporting student parents. And even though not all of us, most of us weren't on council, I think it's important that we uphold that commitment to that community. And then two, I want to emphasize how impactful this is on disabled students who don't get to choose when their body decides that it's not going to be able to handle school. And that's another community that we really need to support, and please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Angela?
Definitely want to echo what Paige said, but also thank you, Dana. I wanted to thank you for coming here today and for all your hard work and effort. Personally, the USAC Academic Affairs Commission has been a part of this fight since 2023, and it will definitely continue to do so. Overall, displaying a student's final assigned grade is bare minimum, and not doing so unfairly penalizes students, as you just said. I not only wholeheartedly agree with this letter, but would definitely love to touch base soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, mine is the last one that I would take.
Yeah. Do we have any numbers on how many students are affected, like transcripts that need to be changed?
Dana?
Yeah, so it's unknown how many distinct incompletes are. So there are students who have multiple incompletes, like disabled students who can't control when they need extended time. And then there are students with just one incomplete. So that has made getting the numbers very difficult. But I would say if we're thinking spring 2024 forward, it's going to be a couple thousand. I also am not sure the accuracy of the data that we received 2 years ago, so I would wait to get an update on that.
But it constantly updates per quarter, so it's just incredibly
Yes.
important. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. If anyone has no pressing questions or comments, then I'm gonna call for a motion to vote to pass or not pass the resol. Okay, Gabby, looks like you want a motion.
I do.
Okay.
If I can pull it up.
Okay, no worries. Oh yes.
Motion?
Oh yeah, you want a motion? Yeah.
First motion, guys. I call for motion to approve the resolution calling for the retroactive removal of all incompletes and accompanying permanent notations from undergraduate student transcripts.
I second.
Okay. Angela motion, Gabby seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Gabby, are you voting? Please lower your hands. All opposed, all abstaining with the 1300. That resolution passes. Thank you so much, Dana, for coming and spending your evening with us. We truly appreciate your presentation.
Thank you
Congratulations.
all. Thank you for your support of students,
Yes.
and I look forward to working together to make sure this happens.
Yes, we'll be following up with you because Gabby will be, doing your resolution reports. So we'll be doing that. So I'll be looking for those. I will be calling for those. But thank you so much, Dana. We'll follow up.
Amazing.
Great. So I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 8:56 p.m. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you guys online on June 23rd. Thank you.